Hello guys, what's going on? Hopefully everyone's doing well. Today we're going to be installing a C1 Diff brace. Got the package in the mail a few days ago. Let's go ahead and see what's inside. We got a little thank you card from Z1, some packaging. We got the brace. It's a little heavy, nice and solid, seems like. Set it off to the side, and we got 3 bolts and 1 nut with the washer. And that's about it. So we got the Diff brace, 3 bolts, washer. Let's see how this goes. Alright guys, those tools we're needing, looks like we're going to be using a 14mm on the long bolt and on the medium size one, and then we have a little short thick one. That one's going to be just like here, a 17mm, and then on the nut itself is going to be a 19, so we're going to be requiring a 14, 17, and a 19mm. Alright guys, I just went over the instructions, and you actually require a 19mm wrench, but if you don't have a 19mm, the 3/4 would work, and that one's going to be for the actual nut with the washer on it, and I'm about to show you where it goes. Before I take anything off, let me show you where it's going to go before we get started. So, you know what I'm talking about. The diff is going to be right here, and it appears you're going to be removing that bolt and this bolt, and where this nut washer is going to go, it's going to go on this frame, but it's going to go on the other side. Let me go ahead and get you in there. You're going to need that wrench. They want you to slide it in through, follow the frame through here. You're going to be sliding in through this slot right here. From that slot, they want you to place. I'm trying to get a good angle for you guys. You see where I'm at? Alright. This is the other side of the frame, and this is the slot I was talking about. They want you to come up, and there's a hole right here. They want you to slide. Then that, which is going to be this one, it's going to go right there, facing this way. It's going to go like that, but on the other side, and this washer is going to keep the brace, or the washer is actually going to be inside the frame, and the brace is going to be on this side, so it'll lock it into place. Let me see if I could get it in there for you. I don't think I'm going to be able to record this for you guys, but as soon as I get it on there, I'll get back to it. Alright guys, I was actually able to get it on there. I figured that was going to be the hardest part of the job, so I did that first. I got a light for y'all too. This bolt right here with the nut on the back inside that hole. But what I ended up doing, instead of running it through here, as the instructions say, the exhaust actually got in the way to where I couldn't get up into that slot. So I went up a little higher, and make sure your wrench is going to be turned in this way, not that way, because if it's that way, it's never going to reach. So the pin's going to be facing towards you. Put the nut on it, and you can actually slide it all the way across through the top section instead of down here, unless you feel like removing your exhaust, which I might actually be a little quicker. Well, not quicker, but easier to work with. But for the sake of taking off the exhaust system, I ended up going through the top. It might help if you have somebody else, because holding that and the actual brace itself is pretty heavy. So trying to hold it from, give you an example, trying to hold the brace and spin it, because you ain't got that much room. spin it, it is pretty difficult, so it might be better just to hold this and have somebody else just spin it for you. That'd be a whole lot quicker. I guess let's go ahead and get started on the next steps. Alright guys, this is gonna be the 14 mil nuts on the diff, and it's gonna be the one right next to the drain plug to the right. This one right here. Just go ahead and try to break that off. And it's gonna be the one right above it. I got this installed, or kind of installed already, hanging, so you can tell it's gonna be this one. Make sure that Z1 emblem is facing towards you, that way you know it's in the correct location, or mounted correctly. Let's see if we can break this one up. There you go. Go ahead and remove those. Sorry about all that movement, guys. I'm not used to recording while working on this vehicles. There's one bolt, and second. Alright guys, we have the long one and the short one. For their instructions, the long one is going to go on the bottom, which is going to be this one right here. Oh, I think y'all got that. Let me go ahead and do it again, I'm not sure. You got that? The top one and the bottom one, we got one that's fully threaded and one that's not. The one that's not fully threaded, that's going to be the one that goes down here at the bottom. Line it up, turn it, and then the one that is fully threaded, let me see, it's actually the same size as the factory bolts. It looks like, yeah, it's the same size as the factory bolts. This one has a not threaded all the way. That one's gonna be the one that goes up in the top bolt that we removed, which is actually gonna be towards the back right here. Go ahead, screw it in. Once we get those screwed in, we're gonna torque them down. It says incrementally to 32 foot-pounds. We might not be able to torque this one down, but we'll get pretty close. Got that one down. They're all loosely. I haven't tightened this top one either. I'm just trying to get them made up. Let me see what the next steps are. Alright guys, I got my torque wrench set at 30 foot-pounds. I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm not gonna be able to get to this one. This is the only one I'm gonna be able to torque. This one up here is gonna be 55 foot-pounds, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to that one either. So I would recommend tying these two down before you get this one, just because it's connected to the diff and you don't want it, well, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I don't want it coming back and especially leaking fluid. I don't know if it would or wouldn't, but my recommendation would be to tighten these two down first, to go ahead and tighten down the cover properly the way it's supposed to be, and then get this one last and tighten it that way it's all properly sealed and you don't have any issues. Alright guys, this is the only torque wrench I got. I know it's a little big, but we're set at 30. Come down. That's about 30 right there. They are at 32, but what I'm gonna do, since I can't get to this other one, I'm gonna, a ratcheting wrench is probably your best bet on all this, because that's all I actually use. The space is pretty limited. I'm gonna come down to this one. We'll actually get a feel of the way you're gonna be holding this one up here, because that's the way you're gonna end up getting it nice and tight. Don't move your hand, and see how tight this one is. That's actually on there pretty tight. Gonna be the same one up here. Once you feel that tightness on your fingers, you'll have an idea of about where it's supposed to be. That's about, this is 30. I can't actually move it anymore, so this one's gonna have to be pretty tight as well. But that's the way I go about it. If I don't have a wrench, if it does move, you'll have a feel of how it feels on your hand, how much pressure you're actually putting on, and it won't be exact, but it'll be really close. That right there is about, I guess, 32, and that top one, I guess you're just gonna have to guess whatever this feels like, and try to get it close to 50 pounds, 50 foot-pounds. I believe that's what it was. Double check. So the bolt up here is gonna be 55 foot-pounds, and I have a 17 mil ratcheting wrench on this side, and I had the 3/4 on the back end, which you can kind of see. Man, it's really tight down here, guys. I'm sorry. I'll flip it. You can see the wrench right there holding up the backup, but once you get to a certain point, you don't need that backup anymore. It actually remove the 3/4. I'm not sure if you can see that bolt back there, but you can actually spin this one without that backside turning. And this is, like I said, 55 foot-pound. Try to get it to where you think it's close, and it should be done. Get back. Alright guys, don't quote me on this, but I believe for every foot you had, you multiply it by, I guess, 10 extra foot-pounds. So if you have 10, you give it another foot, it's actually 20. If you give it another foot, it's actually 30 foot-pounds that you're applying if you have 3 feet instead of 1 foot. So I know what I put on these was close to 30, and I was giving it quite a bit. So all I did was add that wrench right there to the 17, and I'm gonna give it the same amount of force that I was giving the ones at 32, which is about right there. The wrench was already bending, so that's close to, I want to say, 60 foot-pounds, and that should put us right where we're at. And where I said it was an actual pretty install. I thought I was gonna have a hard time getting this one in. That was gonna be troublesome, but I mean, wrenches right here are gonna be your best friend. I would recommend just going with that instead of the sockets. But I guess we're done here. Let me go ahead and jack it down. It actually does take some stress or weight off this bolt itself going in here, so it's not taking all the excessive pounding and torque. You transfer some of it to this one over here, so it's actually pulling on the frame a little bit down as you're going, or I guess I should say, if the frame's not moving, it's actually keeping this in place from it jumping up and down while you're getting on it. But it did look like it does improve. I would go. Well guys, there you have it. Out of, I guess, 1 of 5 stars of complexity wise, 1 being the easiest, 5 being the most difficult, I would give it a 2 stars just for the fact that it has that nut that goes inside the subframe itself. Other than that, it's really easy it's an easy bolt on, I guess I should say. I guess I would recommend it. Easy install, and does help save the bushings a little bit. Y'all have a good day.